It is P Cube. It is raging loop time for the night. P Cube. And for the first time in a while, I unintentionally almost, for the first time in a while, tonight's stream brought to you cracking open a cold one. Let's try to get that on the mic here. Oh. I'm gonna try not to make a mess. I was talking about this previously, but like I was dealing with so much like shitty like health stuff like the beginning of 2026 for like the first 2 months, where like very unintentionally very dry, I guess we'll say, a couple of months for me, which hurt me as an enjoyer, as an obnoxious enjoyer of especially different craft beers. It was very saddening. Turns out when you're sick and also dealing with other horrid health stuff, for lack of a better term, just my want to drink anything was very low. Delicioso. Okay. Raging Loop. Let's see. Recap for the last Raging Loop stream. We basically were sent back into the voting ritual, and a lot to discuss about that. But basically, as the feast has progressed, basically our main character, who has had the role of the snake, has had a chance to basically eliminate, both through his role and the power granted to him, and also through his deductive skills, as he thinks. He's basically eliminated a lot of people. Again, and also because we're looping, both us and him and the reader, us and him. We know 2 of the 3 wolves almost, right? And we know we can place some of the roles based on his logic, right? There's some things he thinks. So really, the amount of people that he has to have to theorize about, are they the wolves or not, then it's whatever. So he's got a good sense of everyone's standing throughout this loop, this official second loop, right? I don't know if you would necessarily, because technically he's been looping to get other deductive, things and all. But really, in my head, I think of it as the official second loop, because we know what happened in the first loop. That was where he didn't get to participate. This one is the second. And basically, we know 2 of the wolves were the reporter, Mafia, who's dead. And we know another of the 3 wolves is Chikamochi. That bastard. So then it's like, okay, who's the 3rd one? And then they came to a conclusion, the lot of them, and they were like, hey, to be on the safe side, let's just enact this, something majority. Definitive majority? I forget what the term they called it, but something majority, where it was like, if we can get enough people that we can 100% confirm and believe are humans, then even if we have to eliminate some people that aren't wolves, by war of attrition, we'll just inevitably win, just based on a pure numbers game, right? And they were like, okay, cool. So they made their little pact. It's like 6 people or so. It's got fucking old guy. It's got fucking mountain man. It's got fucking me. It's got it's got Kaori because she's mild-mannered or something. There was it was something about her being like, fucking, you just gotta believe me or something. There was some logic to it, and I just, whatever. So she got thrown in there, and then I think it was Nosato as well, maybe was thrown in there as like the 5th or 6th, whatever. Not really important. Just know that they have this majority plan numbers thing. And then basically it came down to, all right, we need to vote someone to hang, and it came down to two options. And we saw both branches. We saw basically our choices were the old man who cries wolf, or Rikako Uematsu. Interestingly enough, Uematsu first says that she is the spider and that she has the ability to protect each night. And then in response, old man who cries wolf said, "Hey, spider, me!" And it's like, okay, well, what the fuck is going on? So then it was like, well, we gotta, one of them, because one of them has to be lying, meaning one of them is probably a wolf, right? Unless there's the whole badger thing. Is it real? Is it not real? The badger, interesting role, because just like in Gnosia, there was a role just like that where you're not part of the Gnosia, you're not a wolf, and I assume this is the same. I'm less familiar with the actual game of Werewolf, but I know the whole thing. There might be a role like that where you don't actually, you're not a werewolf, but you want to aid the werewolves, you want to aid the bad guys, so your own win condition is just like, hey, I hope that they win, even if I die, then I'm glad they win, kind of thing. So there's that's looming above everything. And basically we saw that no matter who you vote for between those two to hang, what ends up happening is you go back to the food dining hall, you get served food, you eat it, and ding dong, you get poisoned, your tummy hurts, you go down, and then this is where your choice matters, as we've seen, is that if you didn't kill the old guy, and if the old guy continues, there's no one there to assist you with your poisoning. But it turns out that if you choose to hang the old man and keep Rikako Uematsu around, what she proceeds to do, and I'm still thinking about it to this day from the last couple days that we last played this, she straddles you and then performs some sort of holy fucking, I don't even know how to describe it. I try to think about how some holy ritual thing to draw the poison out of you or something, or cure you, heal you through the power of like sexual implicitness, like moaning. I don't even know how to put it, but I mean, it might, sure, it seemed somewhat unnecessary. It seems like, oh, wacky visual novel is gonna be wacky kind of moment type thing. But I don't know, maybe we'll get more info that makes it more palatable to me or the average reader. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, this almost seems like, I don't want to say necessarily fan servicey, but it seems unnecessary to a degree. I'm not necessarily hating on it for that reason, but it also was like to the point where I'm like, okay, are we doing this just for the sake of doing this exact thing? I'm totally chill. I get to me, the logic of, oh, you kept Rikako around and she has the ability to heal you from poison, some kind of antidote procedure, that's totally fine. The thing leading up to it was seemingly unnecessary, and I'm curious. I have my doubts. I don't think the game will be able to pull it off and stick the landing and give a good reason why that was a thing. But maybe the answer is just, oh, it's just the fucking, what's the term they used earlier? The woman servant, bed manner, woman servant, something or another. And look at her. She has this weird moment with you underneath her. It seemed like, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm misremembering from a couple days ago, I think she was just on top of him and gyrating or something. I don't know what she was doing. But who am I to question? I don't have the ability to remove poison from someone. You know? I'm not an expert in the field. Next time one of my buddies do get poisoned though, by something, food or snakes or otherwise, I will mount them. I'll remember this moment and I'll be like, yeah, I'm down to save my special friend. Now, again, I'm trying to remember from a couple days ago, and I didn't check the VOD from the other time. So, but I think at the very end when she did, I think we read up to the point where she did save him. Like he was like, came back to, and he like threw her off of him or something. And I don't know, man. Something was going on. I can confirm something was going on. Something was happening. So that's where we'll go. My eyes opened and I sat up.
Haruaki-san!
Haruaki-san! I think this is late, like sometime later after I probably healed. Her eyes are teary. Chemi was right next to me for some reason. She was holding my hand, crying her eyes out. I'm so glad you're alive. She then rested her forehead on the back of my hand and began crying even more fiercely. I looked around. This was the dining hall. Everyone else was here too. We didn't even get to... Who tried to poison me? Who the fuck was trying to kill me? When we went this route before we were getting healed by Rikako, I want to say we got a little more, like, dialogue. Like, we were more conscious for, like, some extra dialogue. Like, Nasada was like, oh, the wolfsbane, or something like that. So, this was an assassination attempt via poison on me, I think. But they all wore conflicted expressions. Shammy was the only one openly expressing how they felt. What happened? I actually had no idea for a moment, but then... Oh, don't show me this. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Right. I almost died. What saved me though? And why did I feel so good? Ugh. It was like I'd had a full night's sleep. Hard to believe I was just on the brink of death.
ごめん、ちえみちゃん。ちょっといいかな?
Sorry, Chimi-chan. Can you,
ごめんね。
Yeah, sorry.
いや、いいんだ。ただ、何があった?
Did he tell her to, like, back off? I would allow someone to, like, cry if I, like, came back too after, like, having a moment. Let them weep for you. Soak it in. It's fine. What happened?
Haruaki-さん、5時間くらい眠ってて、もうだいたい夜なんだけど、ずっとこんな感じだよ。
You've been asleep for about 5 hours. It's dark outside now, but not much changed.
野里さん、僕はどうなってたんでしょうか?
Nosada-san, what happened to me?
トリカブトによる中毒。しかも、まず助からんと思われるような程度のひどい中毒症状だ。
Okay, I'm gonna say this word has come up before, and I think I pronounced it both ways. I'm gonna say I don't know if it's aconite or aconite. I want to say it's probably aconite, aconite. But if it's aconite or something else, a third option perhaps. I apologize, I'm not familiar with the term. But I'm gonna say aconite poisoning. Symptoms are so bad that it should have been impossible for you to survive.
しかし、なぜだか君は生還した。まずはおめでとうと言うべきかね。
But for some reason you're alive. I believe I must congratulate you. His tone seemed to be somewhat sarcastic, but he was probably just hiding how suspicious and uneasy he felt. He was eyeing Rikako-san, who was standing near the window, looking down and comforting Meiko. He wasn't the only one. She was the center of attention here. Wonder, disbelief, reverence, worship.
お祈りって聞くんだね。
Prayers really do work, huh? I had little doubt that was what he actually thought.
そうだったんですか。よく覚えてませんが、リカコさん、ありがとうございます。
Do they? I don't remember much, but thank you, Rikako-san. Wait, did she change? She's got all white robes now?
植松家の責務果たしただけです。
I simply fulfilled my role as an Uematsu.
何でもいいよ。生きてたならそれで。
It's fine. All that matters is he's alive. I didn't agree there. Being saved by some religious rite was just as ridiculous as this death loop I was trapped in. Wait, why is he so annoyed? Why is he so annoyed with everything? That picture is replacing the wolf picture that we just constantly see. Prayers? Religious rites? Did that experience really qualify? I reached for my shoulder and felt fresh bandages. The cotton was bloody, meaning she really had stabbed me. Oh yeah, there was like a bit of a stabbing thing. It wasn't just, yeah, there was like a puncture bit to the whole thing. Meaning she really had stabbed me. Did she suck out the poison? That couldn't be it. I wasn't bitten by a snake. I'd ingested aconite poisoning. You couldn't just suck that out of the bloodstream. I shall take in his poison. She had said that, right? Taken my poison? Yes, because taking in the corruption is one of the Uematsu's roles. That perhaps my role here is to take in the hatred of everyone present. The role of the Uematsu.
彼女がネヤのはしためとして背負ってきたものはきっと君にはひどく奇異に思えるだろうし重くのしかかるだろう
What she bears as a bedroom woman servant would be quite a strange and heavy burden for you.
雲はネヤのはしため
The spider are bedroom woman servants.
そこからかつて植松家は野蛮として村の夢見を守る役目を担ったのです。
That was why the Uematsu of old had the role of protecting the dreams of the villagers.
はい。植松は葬儀の家でもありましたから、葬式仏教も混じっているかも。
Yes, the Uematsu are also responsible for funeral rites. Our faith might have some roots in Buddhism as a result of that duty. Huh? So that was how it was. I understood now. And I also understood how frightening the Uematsu were. However, there was something more important to worry about. Fusaishi almost died, and Uematsu saved him. Could be an act.
常識的にはそう思いたくもなりますがね。狂言で心停止寸前ができるなら、彼は手品で一生食っていけるでしょうな。
A reasonable thing to suspect, but if he can really make an act of stopping his own heart, he could make a living out of that stunt.
しかも貴様も見ていたろう。あれは神聖の中毒症状だったな。
Chikamochi, you saw him, right? Those are real symptoms.
そうだね。渦は冗談でも食べたら助かるってないしな。
Yeah, eating wolfsbane's no joke.
それにりっちゃんも冗談であんなになんないでしょ。
And Ri-chan ending up like that isn't a joke either.
もっちやめとけ。
Stop it. I just realized that her black clothes were gone. Old man. Fusaishi and Uematsu are humans. So.
待ってください。母さんは違う。
Wait, it wasn't Mom. There it was. Everyone is here, but Kaori-san alone seemed to be in a different position. She was deep in the room, sitting, probably forcefully, on a chair with a pale face.
あの時、僕以外にも雑炊を食べた人はいたんだよね、安永くん。
I wasn't the only one who ate the rice gruel, right? Yasunaga-kun?
ええ。あの後手はつけてませんが、多分鍋の方に毒は入ってない。
Yes, no one ate any more after you were poisoned, but there was probably none of it in the pot.
おそらく不採士さんが使った食器に毒が付着していたんだと思います。
I believe the bowl you ate from had poison applied to it.
あるいはよそった時に毒を持った。
Or some was poured into the food after taking it from the pot.
違います。私じゃありません。
No, I didn't do it.
オリベさん、私も別に意地悪で言ってるんじゃないがね。理屈ではあなたが一番疑わしいのは確かですよ。
Oribe-san, I'm not accusing you, simply saying that it's fair to consider you the prime suspect.
それを否定しきるだけの説がまだ出てないから、皆あなたを信じきれてない。そういうことでしょう。
We can't absolve you of responsibility because we haven't formed a counter-argument yet. That's it.
わかります。あの時は私だけがカウンターにいましたから。でも違うんです。やってないんです。
I understand. I was the only one at the counter then, but it wasn't me.
だから食器についてはそっちの棚にあったんですよ。誰も注意してなかったんだから、誰だって触れたと思うべきだ。
The bowls were on that shelf. No one was watching it, so it could have been anyone.
それは逆だね、オリベ安永君。誰でも見えたのだから、怪しい動きをすれば誰かが気づいたはずと考えるべき。
It's the wrong way to look at it, Yasunaga Oribe-kun. Everyone could see it, so if something strange happened, someone would have noticed.
ちなみに盛り付け前に食器を運んだのは君だろう、安永君。自分が犯人だというつもりかね。
Also, you were the one who brought the bowls out to be used. Are you saying you are the culprit?
それはありません。動機だってない。
No, I had no reason to do that.
だろう。そもそも積んである食器に名前が書いてあるわけでもないのだ。配膳して渡す時以外、彼を狙うことは不可能だ。
True. And it's not like there are names on the bowls. The only time you could target him specifically was while the food was being served.
わかりますけど、でも考えてください。不採士さんの生死に関わらず、こうして母さんが真っ先に疑われるのは当然だ。
I know, but think about it. Mom would have been the first suspect, even if Usaishi-san wasn't the one poisoned.
こんなバレバレの状況で母さんが殺人を犯すメリットがあれば言ってください。
What would be the point of her killing someone in that situation?
安永君、別に私は好きでこんなことを。
Yasunaga-kun, I hate to say this, but
自分が犠牲になってでも蛇を排除できる。
she may have wanted to take out the snake even if it meant dying in the process. Takumi-san joined the exchange.
キヨの言う通り、理屈で考えれば、
Oh, it probably pains him.
わかるんだ、カオリさん。
Pains him to have to say this. Kyo is right. Logically speaking, you're the most suspicious one here, Kaori-san.
そしてキヨだけじゃなく、みんなそれを疑ってる。俺も少しはそうだな。疑っちまってる。
That's what everyone thinks. Not just Kyo. Even I'm starting to suspect you a little.
匠さん、あなたまで。
Takumi-san, you too?
キヨだけに嫌われ役をやってもらうのは本意じゃねえからな。
I can't let Kyo get all the hate here.
慣れん真似をするものだ。
How unlike you.
ただ、俺は個人的にはカオリさんを信じてる。
But personally, I do trust Kaori-san.
理由は
What's your reason?
カオリさんは義継守ろうとして殺すなら、この場全員殺すだろうよ。それに、バレた後に言い訳なんてしねえだろう。
If she had to kill someone to protect Yoshisugu, she'd kill everyone, not just Fusaishi. She wouldn't make any excuses for it either.
そんな、おっかねえ、根性決まった母ちゃんだろ、あんたは。
You're a scary mom with serious guts. Yeah. He was completely right about her. Takumi-san knew her so well and still fell for her, huh? He was serious about her. It made me want to cheer him on. In that case, I had to make it through the night.
僕も信じますよ、カオリさん。
I'll trust you too, Kaori-san.
不採士さん。
Fusaishi-san,
理由はあるのかね。
do you have a reason?
そうですね。確かに状況証拠では怪しくても、彼女の人となりが疑いを帳消しにしていると思いますから。
Well, circumstantial evidence might not be in her favor, but it's canceled out by her nature as a person.
あとは、 僕を信じてくれた匠さんの分析を僕は信じたいと思ってます。
Also, I want to trust Takumi-san's analysis. He believed in me after all.
ありがとうよ。
Thanks.
よろしいので。
What do you say?
どうせ今日はもうくくれん。明日のことは明日考える。
We can't hang anymore today. We'll worry about tomorrow.
だな。もう潮時だ。みんな、今日は引き上げるぞ。
Good point. Anyway, it's late. Let's go to bed.
母さん、片付け手伝うから。
Mom, I'll help clean up.
俺もやる。服もここの使うぞ。
I'll do it too. Gonna use the stuff here.
ありがとう安永義継。
Thank you, you too. We left the family of 3 and went outside.
ちい、そういや、わしん銃どこやった？
Hey, Chi. Where's my gun?
いいよ。もうおやっさん大丈夫だろ。
It's fine. He's better now.
いやその
Actually,
お、みーけ。
found it.
ああ
To my surprise, the hunting rifle was placed against the dining hall's wall. But
ボルトどこやった？
where's the bolts?
霧の中に投げちゃった。
I threw them into the mist. Kansan grunted in displeasure, snatched the gun from Mochi, and went off into the mist.
なんかダメだな。
Man, I'm no good. She chuckled emptily. There were still dried lines of tears down her cheeks.
いや、正解だ。バラすのは必要だったし、完全になくなってたらお前が持ってったと勘違いしかねないからな。
It's fine. We had to take it apart. If it went completely missing, we'd have assumed you took it with you.
私が？ああ、凶器として？
Me? Oh, as a weapon.
ああ。変な疑いがかかってもつまらんだろ。
Yeah. Wouldn't want to draw suspicion, right?
もう嫌だな。疑ったり疑われたり。
Man.
早く霧が晴れればいいのに。
Man, this is such a pain. I'm tired of walking on eggshells. Can't the mist just go away already?
心配せず
No.
とも明日には目処がつこう。
Don't worry. Everything will come to an end tomorrow.
そうだな。じゃあ、俺も引き上げだ。みんな、おやすみ。
It'd be a real shame if it didn't come to an end tomorrow. I don't think this game is gonna end. Yeah, I'm going then. Good night. As he left, Takumi-san lightly tapped my shoulder.
回復は奇跡的だっつってたぞ、キヨは。
Kyo said your recovery was a miracle.
大事にしろよ。
Don't waste it. He gave my shoulder a firm squeeze, then left.
ええ。
Of course. I would do whatever I could to survive.
じゃあ僕もこれで。
I'm going to.
久幸さん、おやすみなさい。
Fusayuki-san, good night.
春明さん、本当気をつけてね。
Haruaki-san, be careful.
ああ、おやすみ。
Yeah, good night. Akaka-san didn't speak or even looked at me until the very end. How awkward. I crossed my legs and sat down on my futon. I wasn't tense anymore, probably because I was used to it, or because I wouldn't die tomorrow. I just didn't feel like sleeping, though. I actually felt really good. Why had I survived? Was it really aconite? Even I'd heard that real aconite poisoning was lethal. What if it was actually some weird poison that just made it seem like you were dying, then fully recovered afterwards? That kind of trick would be kicked out of the Rookie of the Year Mystery Novel Award in the prep reading.
それは逆だね、織部安永君。誰でも見えたのだから、怪しい動きをすれば誰かが気づいたはず、と考えるべき。
That's the wrong way to look at it, Yasunaga Oribe-kun. Everyone could see it, so if something strange happened, everyone would have noticed.
こんなバレバレの状況で母さんが殺人を犯すメリットがあれば言ってください。
What would be the point of her killing someone in that situation? I could relate to them both. Kinosuke Shi was right that was unlikely to be pure. Kinosuke Shi was right that was unlikely to be pure coincidence. I feel like there should be a comma or a period. And Yasunaga-kun was right that it was an unlikely risk to take take for someone who didn't need to. All this thinking about who done it and why made me feel like I was in some mystery novel. But that would be wacky. Though, since I could easily dispel all suspicions on Kaori-san, I could more or less see how it was. The very premise was wrong. So, I knew exactly what I had to do today. I took out my notepad, wrote down the name Yoshitsugu Uribe, and put it near my pillow. Suddenly, there was a knock on my door. Oh, I don't get to choose who to research. I quickly became tense again. A visitor? Now? Right after I almost died? I decide what to do after seeing their face. Then I realized this hut didn't have any way for me to look outside the door. However, there were spaces between the boards of the door, most likely warped by changes in humidity. I peeked outside through them. Chami? Another knock. Who is it? I went ahead and asked. It's me, Chami Serizawa. So formal. What is it? I want to ask something.
なんだろうというか物意味をしなきゃなんないんじゃないの外は危ないかもしれないし大丈夫
Well, ask away. Shouldn't you be sheltering right now? It's dangerous outside, isn't it? Sure you should be here?
私は大丈夫。まだみんなその辺をブラブラしてるし。ドア越しでいいから、ちょっといいかな。
I'm okay. There's still people walking around. Can we talk? I don't mind if it's through the door.
いいけど。
Sure.
私、何もできてないなって。
I realize that I can't do anything.
私、落ちこぼれでね。子供の頃からここのみんなに迷惑ばっかかけてて。
I'm a huge failure. I've been causing trouble for everyone here ever since I was little.
だから必死で勉強して大学受かって外に出たんだよ。
That's why I studied hard, entered a college, and went outside the village.
知ってる？安水の人間はね、大学行くか出稼ぎ行くかしか外に出られないんだ。
Did you know that the only way people from Yasumisu can leave is either going to college or finding work somewhere else?
いや、知らないな。出稼ぎに行く人もいたんだ。
I didn't, actually. You have people who work away from home?
うん。匠兄ちゃんも一度は外に出てたよ。お父さんとお母さんも外にいるし。
Yeah, Takumi Ni-chan left once. His mom and dad are outside too.
そうなんだ。
News to me.
お父さんあんまり体良くないみたいだから、たまに外に行ってるよ。
Yeah, his dad is sickly, so he goes outside every now and then.
逆になんで彼はこっちに
Then why is he here?
8年前の事故。いや、読み意味の宴だったのかな。たくさん人が亡くなって片付けに戻ってきたんだけど。
The incident, no, the feast 8 years ago killed a lot of people, and he returned to help clean up, but...
ぶっちゃけ安水に残った人だけじゃ回らなくなっちゃってね。タイばあちゃんも頼りにしてたし、それでね。
That's really unfortunate. The people that were still alive weren't enough for Yasumisu to function. Taiba-chan depended on him too, so he, you know...
なるほど。それで匠さんは前の宴を知らなかったってわけだ。他の人たちも上藤吉に行ってたんだっけ
I see. That's why Takumi-san didn't know about the last feast. The rest were in Kamifujiyoshi, right?
うん。
Yeah.
肝臓さんと狼じじい氏以外は休みずにはいなかった。
So no one besides Kanzo-san and the old wolf guy were here.
そういえば、はるちゃん。
Oh, yeah, Haru-chan.
ん
はるちゃんは夜中寂しがって一人で抜け出したんだ。お泊まり学校。それで山道を抜けて。
Haru-chan was so lonely at night that she left the school we were staying at all by herself. Then she went through the mountain path and...
じゃあ休みずに入ったの
Huh? She was in Yasumisu too?
わからない。大人は安水の手前で見つけたって言ってたけど、みんな安水で何か見たんじゃないかって噂して。
I don't know. The adults said they found her in front of Yasumisu, and there were rumors she saw something there.
そのせいかわかんないけど、それでしばらくはるちゃんおかしくなっちゃって、みんな狼つきとか噂して。
I don't know if that's the reason why, but she started acting weird afterwards. People said she was possessed by a wolf. It came as no surprise, but Chami still had info that I didn't know of. Had Haru-chan caught a glimpse of the feast? But that would mean that she too survived the feast of the Yomi Purge. As things were, there was no way to leave Yasumisu when it was engulfed by the mist. I didn't know if you could enter it, but it was natural to think you couldn't leave after doing so. Thinking rationally, she shouldn't have made it to Yasumisu in the first place. But her possession. If she'd seen something in the mist without ever making it to Yasumisu, could she have become afflicted with some trauma or something divine because of it?
そうか。落ちてきたか。己、幾度かやり直しておるな。
I see. So you rose. You have tried again several times, have you not? If I wanted to find out more about her, it was too late for that this time. I could have been wrong, of course. There was probably a lot more info for me to find, not to mention I couldn't go back unless I died. Also, I decided to save the humans so I would see it through to the end. Of course, that included her.
ごめん。それはともかく、どうして役立たずだなんて思うの？
Sorry. Anyway, why do you think you're useless?
だって投票だってうまくできないし、ヤスくんやタクミ兄ちゃんみたいにいろいろ考えることもできない。
I mean, I can't vote, right? Nor can I think like Yasukun or Takumi-ni-chan.
ヨシくんも野里さんでさえもできることをしっかりやってるのに。
Yasukun and even Nosada-san are doing whatever they can.
僕としては、君がいたからこそ、全員が心理的な一線を越えずに済んだんじゃないかって思ってるけど。
If you ask me, you're the reason why no one crossed certain mental lines.
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
もちろん僕らは人を殺してしまったし、不当に人を裁くことにも慣れてしまった。すでに狂ってるとも言えるかもしれない。
We grew accustomed to killing and unfairly punishing each other. In a way, we're already insane.
それでも怒りや恨みや悲しみに任せて人を殺せば必ず後で後悔したろうし、もっとひどい状況だってあり得た。
Still, we'd surely regret it if we killed people purely for revenge, and we're absolutely in danger of doing that.
僕は君がそういうのだけは避けたくて心を砕いてきたってそう勝手に思ってたけどな。
And I kind of think that you've been racking your brain trying to avoid that at all cost. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Did I miss the mark?
ごめんね。別にちえみちゃんの理解者を気取るつもりじゃなかったんだ。
Sorry, I don't mean to act like I know everything about you.
人には向き不向きはあるし、ついでに僕は君がちゃんとみんなのためになってると。
I'm just saying that people have what they're good and bad at, and I think that you're a valuable asset in your own. Haruaki-san! What? All of a sudden her voice cracked briefly, weighed down with sorrow.
なんでそんな優しいの？役立たずじゃん私。春秋さんが倒れた時も泣くばっかで。
Why? Why are you so nice? I'm useless. Even when you collapsed, all I could do was cry.
いっそ言ってよ。お前ただの邪魔だって。死ねばいいのにって。
Just say it. Tell me I'm in your way and that I should die.
誰が喜ぶわけでもないのに。
What?
心にもないことを言いたくはないな。
Why would I say something I don't mean? It wouldn't help anyone.
言ってよ。嫌いになれないじゃん。
Say it. I can't hate you if you don't.
好きだよ。春秋さん。
What? I love you, Haruaki-san.
もういろいろ耐えらんないよ。
I can't bear it anymore. Oh man, this wasn't an admission of love. It was an SOS, if not a plea for death.
君は ふるさとのことが嫌い？
Is she jealous that fucking like Uematsu is like all over me? She just had to witness that. Do you hate your home?
嫌い。
I do.
ふるさとのみんなも？
Everyone here too?
大嫌い。
I hate them so much.
そんなことはないはずだろ。
As if that's true.
だってここには私の居場所なんてないもの。
But there's no place for me here. In the end, she was someone who'd abandoned Yasumisu. Even if there was space for her to live, she just couldn't adjust to this way of life, and her thinking was no longer that of a Yasumisu inhabitant. However, moving away didn't solve all her problems either. She saw a glimmer of hope in her homeland and returned here, or so I assumed. But she didn't get what she wanted and suffered in vain, and to top it all off, she was caught up in the feast. It must have been incredibly painful, so that was why she treated me so nicely when we first met. There must have been a profound emptiness in her heart, but I couldn't return those feelings during this loop. I'd already accepted someone else. Oh, it's such a shame, GME. But I've already grown so close to Rikako. Didn't you see?
分かってるよ。リカ子さん、可愛いもんね。まさか超能力まであるって知らなかったけど。
I get it. Rikako-san is cute, isn't she? I had no idea she had superpowers too, though.
超能力？
Superpowers?
病毒を引き取ったんだって。だから春明さんは助かったんだって。
She took away your poison. That's why you survived.
すごいよね。かな一個ないよ。
It's amazing. I don't stand a chance against that.
ちえみちゃんは十分魅力的だよ。
You're charming too, you know.
じゃあ付き合ってよ。
Why? Chiemi, I gotta be honest, like, I get it, but we are dealing with some life or death type situations. Like, honestly, I gotta have, like, a clear head going into, like, these later rounds. Like, we are trying. It's very important, Chiemi, I get my head in the game, okay? I'm sorry. Then go out with me!
一緒に遊んでよ。手を握ってよ。タンデムでずっと遠くまで連れてってよ。布団の中で一日中ギュッてしててよ。
Play with me, hold my hand, take me on a bike ride far away. Let me spend all day sleeping in your arms. Okay, so I'm gonna try to be charitable towards this moment. And I'm gonna say it's not as weird as maybe as it seems, hopefully, maybe. Because as he was kind of pointing out, she got a taste of the outside world. And then she comes back and she's like, oh, this fucking sucks. I hate the people here. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like I belong here. And not only on top of that, now I've got wrapped up into this fucking feast thing. And then maybe she's like, and then she sees this outsider and she maybe sees it. She clearly has some kind of feelings for him, but also like she just sees him as like an escape out almost, maybe. And again, it's portrayed in the most weird, obnoxious, slightly of ways. And maybe my bias against this main protag is painting how I view. But like, I would assume that's kind of what's the vibes going here. Whatever. Whatever.
このドア開けてよ。
Open this door. I could do that. But that would be an empty gesture. Being granted false hope only led to greater despair. So, I didn't open the door. Oh, I forgot that they were still talking through the door. I couldn't.
嘘つき。
Liar.
嘘ついたかな？
I lied?
言葉の上で嘘はつかないで。期待の余地だけ残して。後で全部はしご外して嘘はついてないって。
Not blatantly, maybe. You let me get my hopes up, then just left me hanging. And now you say you didn't lie? How mean.
ひどい。卑怯者。
So cruel and unfair.
最低だよ。私。
I'm just awful. I might have underestimated some things here. Trying to save someone you'd given up on was just naive hypocrisy. In the end, you need to be prepared to never see them again. But that only works when you'd been physically separated. I was probably the only refugee she had left, but in this mist, there was nowhere for her to hide. She could only attack herself in a roundabout manner by criticizing me. And I want you to reject me properly. No matter what happened here, it wouldn't end well. Worst case scenario, she could disappear into the mist again. Could I really write it off as simply drama between a man and a woman? But I had already decided. The moment I opened my mouth. Oh god. Oh, love triangle. Complications. What are you doing here, Serizawa-sama? Uh-oh. Oh god. This is exactly what we do. This is what our guy Fusashi doesn't need. Again, we gotta prepare for the night. We gotta make sure we don't get attacked by a wolf. We then gotta go into the next round and try to... Rakako-san's voice. Oh, how awkward. It's nothing. I'm just being pathetic. Damn, she's coming here to fucking... A slight, like, biting side to her that we've yet to see before. Night is for sheltering, and as the snake, Fusashi-sama is in danger. Should you not be more considerate? You're walking around too. As an Uematsu, I must perform what nightly patrols I can. Oh god, they're fighting. The girls are fighting. Ladies, please. Don't fight over me. I'm not worth it. Please. Please, that's just an excuse. Someone will die regardless. And what could you do if something did happen anyway? Even you could be a wolf, right? Stop it, Shiemi-chan. Joking. The head of the Uematsu family, a beauty, a woman of character. You're not very popular in Yatsumisu, but everyone here thinks you're a good person. In Kamifujioji, you're actually respected and revered. You have a place to return to. But none of that matters, does it? Chiemi? Don't say my name. Oh boy. How much fun. How fun. Rakako-san might be a wolf. She might be a terrible person. This might all be an act. I am human. Anyone can say that. What matters is whether you can get someone to believe you. And you use superpowers. Of course everyone will believe you. Of course he'll love you. I don't stand a chance against that. Oh. You have everything I don't have. You even took Haruaki-san. That's just too cruel and unfair. She didn't want to hurt Rakako-san. She only wanted to hurt herself. But, as one who could do nothing but hurt her, I couldn't say anything. You are misunderstanding me. How? Haruaki-sama simply gave me hope. He merely lended his chest to me.
むしろ私の浅ましい望みを春秋様は拒まれました。
In fact,
死に瀕されても公明正大にそれを断られました。
he refused my indecent request. Even as he was dying, he clearly rejected me.
男女の何もありはせず、
Oh,
これからもありはしません。
there's nothing between us, and never will be.
嘘だ。適当にごまかしてるだけだ。
You're lying. You're just playing it off.
むしろ私には何もない。植松家の家紋と歴史と信仰とそれを背負っただけの空っぽの女。
Rather, I'm the one who has nothing. I'm a hollow woman possessing only the Uematsu family's crest, history, and faith.
居場所だってありはしません。私はもうよすがに取り付く手も足も持ち合わせていません。
I do not have a place of my own either. I do not even have the power to cling to salvation.
心身の一辺に至るまで親内様の名のもとに切り売りしてしまった。
My entire body and mind was sold off to Shinai-sama.
どういうことなの？
What do you mean?
霧が晴れたら残った証文も片付けて名子をよその警察にでも預けたらどこへなりと流れて身を処す所存です。
Once the mist clears, I intend to finish my business here. Hand Mako to the police. Let the flow take me away from here and accept where I end up.
しかしあなたは違う。
But you're different.
霧が晴れたらきっと安水は芹沢様を受け入れる。あなたの明るさと強さと心遣いは残った皆様の希望となる。
Once the mist clears, Yasumitsu will surely accept you. Your cheerfulness, strength, and consideration gives everyone hope.
芹沢様の居場所はここです。私の居場所はどこにもない。
This is where you belong, and I have no such place.
そして夫妻師様の居場所はここ以外のどこか。
And Fusashi-sama belongs elsewhere.
富士吉村に生まれた私たちは彼と添い遂げることなど夢見るべきではなかったのです。
As those born in Fujiyoshi, we cannot dream of spending our lives with him.
さあ戻りましょう。お部屋までお送りいたします。
Let us go back. I'll take you to your room.
嘘だよ。意味わかんないよ。
No, I don't get you at all.
そんなに難しいもんじゃないよ。付き合ってるなら付き合えばいいじゃん。好きなだけ何だってすればいい。
It's not that complicated. If you love each other, then date and do whatever you want.
それはもうできないのです。
I cannot do that anymore.
なんで？
Why?
その通りだ。
She's right. Yeah, Rikako-san had my thanks. She gave me the best way to deal with this.
夫妻師様。
Fusashi-sama.
植松家のご当主に対して読み意味の宴と富士吉村のことで聞かなきゃならないことがある。
I want to ask the head of the Uematsu something about the feast in Fujiyoshi.
ただしこの戸は開かない。
However, I won't open the door.
ちえみちゃんは帰ってくれ。
Shemi-chan, you can go now.
嘘。
No way.
これを信じてもらえないならどうにしたって君とはダメだった。
If you don't believe that much, we wouldn't have worked out anyway.
じゃあ一緒にいる。
Then I'll stay here.
君は自分の昔の男性遍歴を詮索されるときに 他人が同席したらどう思う？
What would you think if someone sat in and listened as you went over your history with men?
分かった。帰る。
Alright, I'm going. I had no idea if she really understood, or understood it the way I intended, but she could probably tell that we were about to speak about something unpleasant.
春明さん、霧が晴れたら最後はちゃんとしてね。
Haruaki-san, once the mist clears, do what you have to do and do it right. Backing down was part of a proper breakup.
おやすみなさい。
Good night. I could hear her walk off, then nothing.
植松さん、
Uematsu-san,
一つ謝らせてください。
let me apologize for one thing.
何でしょ
Yes?
あの時はお見苦しいところをお見せしました。
I showed you something unsightly earlier.
う？こんな時じゃなきゃ嬉しい状況でしたけどね。
If we weren't in this situation, I'd have actually loved that. Oh my god. If not for all the terrible shit that was going on, oh, I would have loved you throwing yourself at me. Let me tell you something. Oh, would have been amazing. Let me, Haruaki, make one thing clear. I love women throwing themselves at me. Just not when a lot of death and stuff is happening around us. It's the one deal breaker.
やめてください。
It's close, but it's a no-go for me. Please, don't say that. It made the mood less tense, but wasn't quite enough.
じゃあ真面目に聞きます。あれはそういう演技なんですか？
Then I'll just ask. Was that an act or something?
あるいは植松家の務めを果たす際の仮面とでも言うものとか。
Or a mask you wore when you had to fulfill your role as Uematsu? I could hear her gasp.
ご存知だったのですか？
You knew? That response proved my assumption was correct. The bedroom woman servant. I should have questioned the lewdness, the derogatory nature of that term a bit earlier. The Uematsu were the Fujiyoshi head family in charge of the night, including the secret matters related to it. They weren't just the night watch and people in charge of funerals, they also handled the nightly affairs of men and women. That meant they were Fujiyoshi's local sexual service providers. Ah, of course. Yes. Of course. I'm a fool for not, thinking it would extend that far. As the head of the family, Rikako-san obviously knew how to handle such things. If I had to guess, all the Uematsu girls were given such a role. Also, I imagine that taking in the poison and corruption was closely related to bodily intimacy. Yeah, sure. Yep. I didn't know much about historic Japan's ideas of medicine, but I knew about the Chinese idea that lovemaking and health were closely tied together. Well, even if it wasn't something like that, knowing the human body, they could have easily formed the logic that it released negative energy. Spiders ate their prey by melting their insides and sucking them out. And boy, wasn't that fitting. Can we just fast forward to the next the meeting? Come on, a wolf kill someone? Let's get to the... There was also the Joroguma, the orb-weaving spiders who shared their name with a yokai that was linked to many lustful stories. In the West, the female spiders that ate their males were called widows, and the black widow was extremely poisonous. Unnerving, elegant, and sexy at the same time, spiders were unique creatures that created webs they used to catch their prey and consume them by melting them with poison. I could understand why equating them with evil women and enchanting ladies was so universal. Classic. Just now, I practically asked her if she was that. I was more or less right. Fujiyoshi was once a place where hunters thrived, attracting many outsiders, a lot of whom were rowdy. To keep them from going after local women, Fujiyoshi had a trained specialist with the right set of skills. The Uematsu gained influence by placing their own relatives in that role. Again, you know what? I'll give credit where it's kind of due. Like, they're backing it up. They're making it make sense with like, this was like how the family rose to prominence and what their role was and what they were subjugated to and what they had to do to keep the people, the other, in check. And the only question that then comes down to is, was it handled 100% well? Do we like this? I don't know. Is it enough? Is it too much? Is it important? Is it just a thing? Is it just a thing for us to be like, oh, it's a thing, and then we move on? I don't know. Well, time will tell. The Uematsu gained influence by placing their own relatives in that role. Also, prior to that, the Uematsu had some religious significance, turning their monopolization of sex into a sanctified act. Their influence must have spread to birth and child rearing as well, and the yoke of tradition made them very powerful. The Uematsu successfully gained control of the darkness most living people encountered by donning the filthy title of bedroom woman servants and facing that darkness head on. So dark. The Miguruma controlled through the public side of faith and politics. The Higuchi handled food and smithing, new info, while the Nosato handled medicine, among other fields. I'd wondered where the Uematsu came in, and now it all made sense. But as time passed and their family business ceased having a place in modern society, their influence began to decline. War, the drop in demand for hunting, and the spread of diseases from the outside, had made the Uematsu lose relevance. And the final descendants of the family had neither the originality nor zeal to adapt to the times and survive.
私たちはその経緯からして血筋を守ることを重視しませんでした。
Because of
しようがありませんでした。
Because of our role, we did not consider protecting the bloodline to be important.
植松の娘がこうなせば、それが新たな植松。植松の教えと秘義と、いくつもの不条理な掟に従う者が植松となりました。
If an Uematsu girl gave birth, the child would be an Uematsu regardless of who fathered it. They would be taught the family's teachings, rites, some absurd laws, and become true Uematsu.
当主は必ず女が務め、それもまたネヤのはしためとして務めました。娘が生まれれば新たな当主です。
The head would always be a woman, who also worked as a bedroom woman servant, and if she had a daughter, that daughter would be the new head.
しかし娘が生まれなければ、よくできた別の娘が当主を継ぐこともありました。
But if she did not, a different qualified girl would inherit the role.
植松は血でなく思想で結束していた。
The Uematsu were bound, not by blood, but ideals.
その思想が藤吉に否定されれば、私たちは春日井を描いた屋台骨のようなもの。
And if Fujiyoshi rejected them, we would be a hollow shell of our former selves.
そして養子縁組など他の三家が望むはずもありませんでしょう。
And it is not like any of the other three families would want to merge with us. The head of the spider's family, the priestess of the spider, had a dark background befitting that title, and the future was bleak for her as well. The Uematsu were an unnatural relic of the past. By cutting them off, the other three families would be able to further modernize themselves. Despite no chance of the family recovering, Rikako Uematsu was born into an unenviable position and grown to be another bedroom woman servant. I was incapable of claiming I could understand her. It was an exaggeration to say we lived in different worlds. It would have been absurd to even claim I could take on her to spare.
春明様はお優しいのですね。
You are truly gentle. I couldn't understand what she meant at all, so I thought about it for a few seconds before I would ask.
こんなことを聞いても、汚らわしいネヤのはしためと罵ることもされず、水をかけることもされず、
You heard all that. You did not curse me as filthy or talk me down. What? Was she thinking he would just explode at her or something?
ですが、その優しさが辛
Come
い。
on now.
いっそ足ざまに罵っていただければ、諦めがつこうというもの。
But this gentleness hurts. If you simply cursed me, I would find it much easier to give up.
芹沢様のお気持ちが
Ah, so that
今なら理解できます。
I think I understand how Serizawa-sama feels now. So they're both just like, oh man, because you're so kind, it makes us being into you that much harder when we know it won't actually work out in the end or whatever. Like, it would be better if you were a fucking piece of shit jerk. Not just dumb, but a piece of shit asshole that rejected us. Then it would be, like, real easy for us to just move on. Give up. God, this is what I feel every day. Give up. Oh, man, we don't have key number 15, man. We're gonna have to just give up. Damn. Why did the locals think it natural to put themselves down and give up on what they wanted? Was it common for local breakups to be considered the woman's responsibility? Or were men the ones who dumped while the women simply continued pining or something? Was it a custom? All I'd say to that was eat shit. But perhaps the ones making the mistake were the ones who fell in love with girls like that.
これでもうよろしいですか？
Is that enough?
最後にいいですか？
Can I ask just one more thing?
はい。
Yes.
あなたは長者として読み意味の宴の秘密に一切関わってませんか？
You're a family head. Do you have anything to do with the secrets behind the feast?
はい。
No.
身車が何を考えているかはわかりませんが、
I
例
do
の
not.
はしためなど取るに足りぬと思っているのでしょう。
I do not know what the Miguruma are thinking, but the bedroom woman servants must be of no value to them.
ならどうして僕を逃がしてくれるなんて確信を持って言えたんですか？
Then why were you so certain you could let me escape? The silence wasn't too long.
私は迷信にまみれた過去の血族の末裔です。
I am a descendant of an old family that lived in superstition.
その力をもってしてあなたの病毒を引き取りました。
I use my powers as such to take in your poison.
その力をもってすればあなた一人を逃がすくらいはできるかもしれない。
I thought that perhaps I could use it to let you escape.
そのように思っただけです。
There's nothing more to it. That made sense. And now that she used divinity as a basis, there was no room for me to argue.
これでよろしいですね。
Is that enough?
はい、ありがとうございました。信じました。
Yes. Thank you. I believe you.
じゃあ明日会えることを願いつつ眠ることとしましょうか。
I guess it's time to sleep. Hope we see each other again tomorrow.
春明様は死ぬことはございません。
You shall not die tonight.
神内様から賜りし雲の加護があなたを守りますから。
The spider, sent to us by Shinai-sama, will protect you. She was basically saying that she would protect me.
あなたが言うと怖いくらいハマってますね。
When you say that, it's strangely believable.
え？
Huh?
いえ、なんでもないです。メイコによろしく。
Nothing. Give my regards to Mako.
はい。な
Cer-
ぜ？
Certainly. Huh? Why?
明日改めてお願いすると思いますが、僕が頼んだら本当のことを言ってください。
I'll probably mention this again tomorrow, but if I ask you, please tell the truth.
それでこのゲームを終わらせます。
That will end this game.
その時にもしあなたがいなかったら僕がメイコを警察に連れて行きますよ。
If you're not with us at that point, I'll take Mako to the police.
ありがとう。信じております。
Thank you. I believe you. That was the end of that. Still, behind the door, she gave me a boring goodbye and left. Remarkably fatigued, I collapsed into the futon. Whoosh. It was pretty thin, so the hard floor below hurt my shoulders, but I couldn't be bothered to even react. Did I actually just break up with 2 women in one evening? Aw, damn. Ah, shit. I'm gonna stay single. It hadn't even been that long since I'd broken up with Mitsuji, and I'd already made a habit of it. Is this our first time we're getting the name of the person? Mitsuji? The person he broke up with, like, right before having this whole thing go up? Or actually getting a name, maybe? There maybe was a name and I just blanked it or something, but I don't even think we had gotten a name previously. I'd gone on a trip because of a breakup, only to find more of them. If I couldn't escape, maybe I'd be happiest if I just came in through Saranaga like last time and enjoyed some time with Chiemi. Okay. Alright, or was there a better path to take now? I couldn't tell anymore. Wolves were out and about tonight, yet here I was thinking about this stuff. Was something wrong with my head? There's something wrong, yeah. Many things, I think. Well, there probably was, but this wrongness was different. Still, I saw how things would go. There was one thing that bothered me, though. Would Rikako-san survive? That question, no, worry, remained floating in my brain. I tried to let go of my consciousness. Human. That's Yoshitsugu, who we researched, right? Bong, next day. Alright, we're going to take a little BRB. And then we'll continue reading. So I will be back. Hopefully not more than a few minutes. Several minutes or so. But just in case, for the VOD watchers on YouTube, I'll pause the actual recording so you won't actually even notice much of a break at all. So I'll be back very shortly. All right, let's go. We woke up. Nothing I woke up to came to me as a surprise. I hadn't died. I'd known it'd be that way. All that remained was figuring out how to end things. I merely had to find a compromise between what was happening and what I felt. No, there were 2 more things to consider. The wolves could go out of control before the feast even began, and I didn't know who I had to mourn today. It was 5 in the morning, and everything was still covered in mist. I could see things better than at night, and not by a whole lot. Was Kansa-san patrolling again? He was no longer like he had been yesterday morning, so I could hope that he was, but he no longer had a gun. The fact that he, a confirmed human, was patrolling like that was actually pretty good for us. I carefully took a step forward. The wolves were liable to appear from the mist at any moment, so I snuck around just in case. However, this was a world of mist and ominous silence. As I walked, the grass swayed. The crunch in the gravel felt loud enough to be heard by the entire village. In fact, even the sound of my heartbeat was deafening. To hell with this. I had to pull myself together. If they were coming, I surely would have heard them too. I just had to stand still to know if I was in danger. I didn't hear anything. There was no one. Or perhaps everyone was hiding. As I began suspecting that a murder was about to pop out of the nearby bushes, I stopped running. I went to the side of the road and hid myself. I carefully thought about the situation. If you looked at the feast as a game, the judges were mostly uninvolved in its progression, leaving it to the players. They only dispensed supernatural deaths to those who killed more than one, or humans who walked around at night. It was really minimal intervention. On the other hand, though, that didn't mean they would stick to the rules and keep the number of victims under 2. And so far, the sides that were cornered tried to kill people even if it meant getting the death penalty. It happened every time. In other words, observance of the rules wasn't valued, meaning that having more deaths than allowed was not a problem. Not only were the humans unprotected, but the wolves, who saw justice in the real story, were entirely capable of disregarding the corruption to commit murder. Looking at it that way, I had no idea what the Game Master, Great Lord Shinai, was trying to accomplish. Did he just want to see bloodshed? In that case, why the roundabout method? He was the god of the mountain. Corruption was his law. The Yomobito were the enemy, but it wasn't clear whether the ones sent to Yomi were the humans or wolves. It made so little sense. If the corruption was the power of Yomi, it wasn't even clear where the boundary between the mountain and Yomi was. In other words, it was safe to think that the mountain and Yomi were the same thing. Shinai was both the mountain and Yomi, a two-faced god who split the Fujiyoshi people worshipping him into two opposing factions on a whim. His aim was this very bloodshed. The mist, the village, everything here was like a coliseum to him. A hunting ground, basically. I had to be overthinking things. However, the fact that the rules weren't strict and the punishment wasn't swift created an opening. There probably was a way to clear the game with minimal casualties. I had to make it through this situation, though. I made a gamble. After taking a deep breath... Yeah! I screamed at the top of my lungs, then hid. If Kanzo-san or Takumi-san heard it, they were bound to come. If it was a wolf instead, they would make a move, wondering why something serious happened without their knowing. They couldn't catch me off guard if I hid and watched from the shadows. This is a weird strat he's got. 5 minutes passed, yet I heard nothing. What if everyone was already dead? That was impossible. Maybe they knew that I was thinking and were now planning to ambush me. I was just guessing, but you never knew what could happen in this mist. My next option was to sneak around and look around the whole village. I would move swiftly and in short bursts. I'd make noise for sure, but it would also make it harder for any other potential lurkers to find me. The Okiba were large and had decent amounts of space between them, making them good hiding places. I ran and hid. Then I held my breath. Nothing was happening. Not thinking much about it, I repeated the process. I ran and hid, then stayed quiet. I ran and hid. Rarg. Yoshisuke-kun popped out of the stone I was aiming for and charged at me. I jumped to the side. A wood-cutting axe slashed through the place I was just standing in. Why? Fuck! Wait, it's me. Calm down. You? Fuck! He then angrily threw the axe away in a random direction and screamed. Fuck! No point sneaking around anymore. But this made me understand something. His rage could only mean one thing. Was the one who died last night? Fuck! After waiting for him to calm down a bit, we began walking together, no longer trying to hide at all. If he'd made so much noise and survived regardless, it was safe to assume that there would be no ambushes. And even if there was, it would be 2v2. We'd be on equal footing. As expected, we made it to the plaza without anything happening. Yoshisuke-kun hadn't said a word the whole way. He was just breathing heavily, like when he attacked me, and his eyes were so wide that his agitation seemed to become madness. I'll look. Not waiting for an answer, I went to the dining hall. I was instantly assaulted by a strange reek. We would never eat here again. As I became certain of that fact, my heart sank, which was pretty out of character for me. I took a step forward. The cupboard glass glass was completely destroyed, and there were porcelain pieces all over the place. This must have been caused by Yoshisuke-kun's rampage. Her bed was upstairs. I went up carefully, just in case, but it didn't feel like there was anyone alive inside. The supports and walls were slightly damaged in places. Yoshisuke-kun had taken it really hard, huh? Even the phone, The only one in the village was completely broken and on the floor. After seeing it, I went further into her room. It was the same. The philosophy behind the murder was the same as Haruchen's. The bloody footprints were standard at this point. There's no doubt that this was done by wolves. What was different was that it wasn't a clobbering, but a slashing. Kaori Oribe's remains were cut up and drowning in a sea of blood. She hadn't been torn apart or split up randomly. It was best to say that she'd been cut into rings. Ugh. Her body was lying on his back, covered neck to toe in horizontal slashes. They did make it to the bone, but didn't break through them. Her entire front was cut open like a fish fillet. What? Stop comparing it to food, please. I couldn't tell whether she died from blood loss or suffocation due to the multiple neck injuries, but whichever it was, she'd suffered an awful end. And yet again, for some reason, her face was left completely untouched. She'd clearly vomited lots of blood, and her expression was downright demonic. Had she been conscious while it was happening? Were the faces of the detestable wolves burned into her now dead eyes? I'd seen how intense this woman could be, and at this point, part of me felt like it was the real her. However, no matter how demonic, she was definitely a loving mother. To both her two sons, as well as Yasumisu as a whole. Looking at her reminded me of the Buddhist goddess demon Hariti? Or Kishimonojin. No matter how irrelevant that was. I can't speak. And oh boy was it irrelevant. In Shinai-sama's court, gods on the outside had absolutely no power. Suddenly, I realized that her arms were completely unharmed. I also noticed that some of the wounds seemed to be facing downwards. The back of the hand was facing upwards while the palm was facing down despite the wounds being on the palm. Why? Upon further observation, I noticed something strange about her undamaged hand. Her fingers were in a peculiar position. Her right hand squeezed its pinky and ring finger. Meanwhile, her left was grasping all the fingers except the thumb. Had she been conscious when she'd gotten these wounds? Had she bent her arms and pushed her fingers on the floor into this position? Was it a shape created by her painful, absurd end? Or perhaps some sort of message? Yoshisuke-kun had caught up with me, with Yatsunaga-kun in tow. Mom.
それだけかよ。
That it?
それだけ?
What are you getting at?
お前には僕の気持ちがわかるのか? 泣きわめけば納得するのかよ?
You think you understand how I feel? You want me to wail or something?
僕だって悲しいさ。絶望だってしてる。だけど僕は考えなきゃならないんだよ。母さんの無念を晴らすために。
I'm grieving too. This is pure despair. But I need to think, so I can avenge her.
よく考えて、よく勉強して偉くなれ。父さんの無念を晴らすために。そう母さんに言われてきたからな。
Mom always told me to think a lot, study a lot, and become a hallmark of excellence so that Dad could rest in peace.
お前はいいよな。そんなのなくてさ。好き放題に生きて、母さんにいっぱい構ってもらえて。
I'm jealous of you. You don't have to deal with that. You lived however you wanted, yet you still got all of Mom's attention.
結局、僕はこんな子供みたいなことにずっとこだわって、延々悩みながらここまでやってきた。
In the end, I've been clinging to something so childish my whole life, and always wasted time on such useless thoughts.
それでもいつか、お前が大人になって、母さんも理性的になって、こんなわだかまり全部なくなるだろうって。
But I still, excuse me, hiccups, but I still thought that all these walls between us would be gone when you grew up and Mom became reasonable.
もう、無理だな。
But that's impossible now.
虚しいよ。
It makes me feel empty.
頼むからよ。
Aniki.
そんなこと言わねえでくれよ、兄貴。
Please don't say stuff like that.
もう母ちゃんはいねえんだぞ。俺らがひねくれた時に何か言ってくれる母ちゃんはいねえんだよ。
Mommy's gone. Mommy's gone. She'd always say something if we were being troublesome, but she's no longer here.
兄貴がひねくれてて どうすんだよ。
Why are you being troublesome at a time like this?
僕は母さんの無念を晴らす。この母さんの指の形が何なのか考えて割り出して母さんの仇を撃つ。
I will avenge her. I'll find out what these fingers mean, understand it, and chase down who did it. I wish I could have gotten like a visual of the fingers, because now they brought it up twice. It makes it feel like it's actually an important thing. So now I gotta go back to where it was talking about the fingers, and then I gotta be like, what the fuck is going on with the fingers? Okay, her right hand squeezed its pinky and ring finger. Her right hand squeezed its pinky and ring finger. So like she's making like the German 3. Like when Dirk Nowitzki would make like a 3 back in the day, he would hold out like the 3 fingers like is that what that means? Her hand squeezed its pinky and ring finger. To me, I could be very wrong, but that means you close like your pinky and ring, and then it's like you're counting to 3 with your hand, with your thumb pointer and middle, right? The Dirk Nowitzki 3. And then her left was grasping all the fingers except the thumb. So just like making like hitchhiker's thumb thing, like hitch a ride. I'm trying to think. What's that mean? What are you symbolizing, Kaori? Finger messages. That'll be the end of my involvement with her. Mommy loved you. Mommy? Come on now. Oh shit. Look at that. That's rage. 2 brothers that always see eye to eye. You know, you always piss me off too. When we talk, she'd always talk about you. She'd do it with others too. Hell, she'd even talk about you when she's by herself. You live in the dorm, so you don't know this, but recently, she often talked to Dad's photo and always about you. You're lying. I'm not. She loved you more than me. Of course she did. You're better than me. That's why she pushed this shit on me. Fuck! Okay, well. 2 brothers who think their mom loves the other one more than them. Real family trauma going on here. Suddenly, he pushed me aside, went forward, and reached for her body. Hey, what are you doing? Mommy, I'm so sorry. All choked up, he screamed and opened his dead mother's mouth. Shit, it ain't here. Yoshisugu, stop! Did she swallow something? Yasunaga-kun's eyes widened at my question while Yoshisugu reached for the wound on her neck. Mommy! What are we doing? Found it. What he took out was something small and covered in blood. He cleaned it with his fingers, exposing something transparent. Apparently, it was something covered in food wrapping. Aniki, open it. She told me to dig through her body if she died. And give what I find to you. She really did love you more than me. Wake the fuck up! Fusashi-san. No, she didn't say for me to open it. No. No, sorry, but could you open it for me? My hands are shaking. I felt apologetic. I probably wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place, so I would at least do this much. The wrap had a rolled piece of paper inside. When I unrolled it, I realized just how small it was. There was tiny, but legible writing on it. The wrap protected any damage caused by blood or saliva, so I could read it clearly. What the fuck? 1. Rikako Uematsu. 2. Chiemi Serazawa. 3. Chikamochi Kamashita. 4. Mako. 5. Other. Please read this together, you two. I always knew you were concerned about my attitude. I wanted Yasunaga to show what he's capable of somewhere far away from this dreadful place, and I would be too worried if I didn't have Yoshitsugu at my side. I came this far with such thoughtlessness, but it doesn't seem like I'll survive this night, so please understand this much. I loved both of you more than anything in the world. Please forget everything aside from that and have a fun, brotherly life. Mother. This wasn't something I could read for them. I just spread it out and put it on the simple dresser on my side.
二人で読むようにとのことだ。僕はここから出るけど、最後に少しだけご遺体に触れることを許してくれ。
It says you two should read it together. I'll leave, but before that, let me examine your mother's remains a bit. What was the numbering in the list of people? What the fuck? Rikako, Chiemi, Chikamochi, Kamashita, Mako, other. Other? Mako? Wasn't she claiming that she was the crow or whatever? Is that what's going on in this loop? And then at first my first guess was like, oh, this is a piece of paper where she had to like write down what was happening to people, but that doesn't line up with what the crow would be doing because these aren't the people that were dying. So what is this list? They didn't say a word, and I took that as a yes. I walked up to the remains. Again, I checked that the wounds on the palms were facing down. The right hand's thumb, index finger, and middle finger were up, while on the left, it was only the thumb. Okay, so I was guessing right. I looked into the wound Yoshitsugu-kun had reached into and extended my finger toward it. I opened it up and examined the cut. There was just one large tube.
なるほど。なるほど。
I see. I see.
僕はもういい。下で。他のみんなと待ってる。
I'm done here. I'll wait with everyone else downstairs. Takumi-san was standing at the entrance to the dining hall, along with everyone else. He was armed with a farming tool, while Kanzo-san had a hunting knife. It was obvious that they'd walked around all of Yasumisu and woke everyone up. Thus, they understood the situation. The Uribe brothers and I missed them because we left our houses earlier than they came to us. They'd probably woken up early because they were worried about their mother. Takumi-san wasn't saying a word. He just cast his eyes down and tightly pursed his lips. He vehemently ignored his urge to run to Kaori-san. As a man who couldn't, or was too late to, become their father, he thought he had no right to step into their family matters. It was a tragedy. From start to finish.
おはようございます。皆さん、こんな時でなんですが、大体全部わかりました。
Good morning, everyone. This might be a bad time for this, but I now understand everything.
二人が降りてきたら、最後の宴を開くことを提案し
Oh
ます。
shit. Once they're back, I propose we start the final feast. Oh shit, he's calling game. It took a whole hour. I didn't hear any loud noises from upstairs the entire time. That was why, when they came downstairs with red eyes, we all understood that they'd been quietly crying. Everyone silently agreed with my proposal, and we all went to the hall. Am I just stupid? I can't tell if I'm supposed to have actually, I'm supposed to actually know what this list of the people's names are, or if it's something that'll be revealed later, because he had read it, and maybe he knows something. I'm trying to think. Am I just really stupid and missed something? Let me rub some brain cells together real quick. Rikako Uematsu number 1, Chiemi 2, Chikamochi, Mako. It's all people that are still alive. And would have been alive up until her death. Chiemi, Mako. That's gotta mean something. People that were still alive. I don't know what other... Is it just a list of people she's suspicious about? I hope the game tells me, because I hope I don't feel dumb, because I'm just not understanding what the list was. We all had our sake, and the eldest among us spoke. We're starting the feast. Yasunaga-kun instantly raises his hand. May I, Fusaishi-san? I don't mind. Then, I declare that Rikako Uematsu and Chikamochi Kamoshida are wolves. Dun 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 dun! I mean, we know for sure that Chikamochi's a wolf. We haven't researched Uematsu, but that would be then our third wolf. Huh? Wait, didn't you believe Uematsu? Saving the snake, Fusaishi-san, from death made her trustworthy, but not completely. In fact, by getting Fusaishi-san on her side, she probably avoided becoming the target of his ability last night. That might have been her intention. Well, it's true that I investigated Yoshitsugu-kun last night. You suspected me? What was the result? He's a human. I knew it. That means the only ones whose identities we don't know are Rikako Uematsu, Meiko, Chieni, and Mochi. However, my now late mother, Kaori Oribe, did the final filtering for us. He reached into his pocket and took out the letter from before, Kaori-san's final words. Okay, so we're getting to that list here. Everyone came closer and read it. Some began to choke up and cry, but everyone knew that what mattered right now wasn't the message she left to the brothers. 1. Rikako Uematsu. 2. Chiemi Shirazawa. 3. Chikamochi Kamoshida. 4. Meiko. 5. Other. What does this part mean? This is a list of people Mom found most suspicious, written in her handwriting. It includes those who weren't confirmed to be human by the snake or anything else. Chieni, Mochi, Uematsu-san, Meiko. Mom excluded herself, obviously. And Yoshitsugu isn't here because she simply trusted him. She also left another point, just in case Fusaishi-san or someone else turned out to be wolves. Though, even if it was other, it would be a hint that Fusaishi-san was lying, which would be invaluable to us. She used this to leave us a message. Wait, it's just a list of names. How do you turn this into a hint? Oh. The number of fingers Mom was holding up, is what he said. I have a bad habit of not reading, 3 and 1? Oh, Makako and Chikamochi is what he's... Okay. I should have probably put that together before the game outwardly told me. 3 and 1. The number of fingers Mom was holding up.
皆さんに見てもらうことはできなかったですが、母さんの遺体の指は少し変な形になってた。
Most of you didn't see it, but her fingers were in strange positions. Okay, so this was, assuming he's correct and assuming this is all what was happening, this is actually really smart of her. She basically laid out just the number of people that weren't confirmed, and then when if she was the one who was attacked, which she ended up seemingly getting attacked by a wolf, she basically was like, all right, I will, with my last moments, hold out fingers, apparently, to then list to correspond to the list that I'd pre-made. So good for her, I guess. Go, Kaori.
久石さん、よしすぐ。母さんの手がどうなっていたか覚えていますよね。
Fusashi-san, Yoshisugu, you remember how they were, right? The right was clenching the pinky and the ring finger, while the left was clenching all besides the thumb.
右手が3本、左手が1本立てられていたね。
She held up 3 on her right and 1 on her left, didn't she?
ああ、間違いね。
Yeah, that's right.
指の数で狼を指定したってことか。
The number of fingers are pointing to the wolves.
そう。いざ狼が入ってきた時には、もうこんなメッセージを残してる余裕はない。
Yes, when the wolves come, you wouldn't have the time to leave a message like this.
だからあらかじめ紙に書いて飲み込んで。
That's why she wrote it down and swallowed it. Now this is where I know I'm about to say something that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but okay. Let's assume this is correct and they're correct and everything's right and on the up and up. We already knew Chikamochi technically was a wolf, but whatever. Everyone's now on the same page. Chikamochi and Rikako Uematsu are the last 2 wolves, right? You can only choose to hang one of them at a time. So there's an awkward... Again, it's kind of with their rule of like the whatever majority thing they had going on. But that means that they basically have to then go another night and someone's potentially going to die again. Plus, that would mean either, well, I mean, all things considered, it probably means Old Man Who Cries Wolf was probably the spider. So there's no protection going on now at this point because we chose to hang him. But basically we had to because Rikako and Matsu saved us from the poison. So that was inevitable and an unfortunate sacrifice. But, so we're gonna lose someone. Especially if Mako... No, I was gonna say if Mako was a spider. That's not the case. No, what I'm saying is, well, let's just assume Old Man Who Cries Wolf was a spider then. Yeah, there's no protection running around, and no matter who we choose, Chikamochi or Rikako, then the last remaining wolf gets free reign on killing someone. And it's like, ah, shit. I could see a thing where it's like, no matter what, like, Fusashi gets the axe here and gets attacked by the remaining wolf. I don't know. And then we do the loop a 3rd time. We official hard reboot to our 3rd loop. But again, that's me getting ahead of ourselves here. That's why she wrote down swallowed it. Paper isn't tasty. Yes, Mako. Right, paper isn't tasty. Be silent, Mako. Oni-chan, you're scary. She had to go that far. Now, you must remember Haru-chan's death. Just like Mom, she was Just like Mom, she was brutally killed in her futon. There was no sign of resistance from her. Mom's surroundings were a mess, but that was because I went ape shit.
抵抗ができない状態でああやって殺されたか、殺された後で遺体を傷つけられた。
Yes. It means that they both died while for some reason being unable to resist, rather their remains damaged after they were killed.
つまり死の前後はほとんど行動の自由が利かない状況で、なおかつ狼の目があるわけです。
That means that while you're dying, you aren't in a state to do anything. The wolves are watching too.
この状況では普通、死にそうな人がメッセージを残せるなんて思わない。そこに穴があった。
It's hard to imagine that you could leave any dying message in that situation, but Mom found a loophole.
なるほど。そりゃ床に血文字とか残せるわけはないよね。狼に気づかれたらすぐ消されちゃう。
I see. It's hard to think that you could write a message using your own blood or something. The wolves would see and just erase it.
そう。大きな情報は残せない。
Exactly. Can't leave any major info.
だけどこうやって情報を別のところに書いておけば、それを指定する最低限の情報を残すことでことは足りる。
However, if you write the actual information somewhere else and provide the bare minimum needed to find it, that would be more than enough.
母さんの場合は指を立てるという方法で、狼はそれに気づかなかった。
Mom's way was using her fingers, and the wolves didn't notice.
こんな方法で
She outsmarted the wolves. Go, Kaori, go. I didn't think it was possible to go around the feast rules like this.
僕の頭が硬かったのは確かでしょう。無理そうなことには挑戦しなかった。でも母さんは違った。
I must admit I was too hard-headed. While I refused to try anything impossible, Mom didn't.
こんなものを飲み込んでまでメッセージを残そうとする母さんの執念がほころびをついたんです。
She went as far as to swallow this, so I can only imagine how dedicated she was to leave this message.
以上です。
That is all.
てめえ上松、やっぱてめえが殺したんじゃねえか。
Uematsu, so you killed her, huh?
昨日くくっちまうべきだったってのか。
So we should have hanged her yesterday.
違います。違います。
No, that is not true.
安にしてはなんか雑じゃないかな。そんだけで僕とりっちゃんが犯人？
That's pretty sloppy, Yasun. Is that really enough to conclude that Richan and I are the culprits?
そうです。私は自分が狼でないと知っています。
Exactly.
である以上、織部様の指を何かの間違いとしか。
Exactly. I know full well that I'm no wolf. In which case, I can only say that Oribe-sama's fingers have to be some sort of mistake.
または読み方が違ってるとか。実は折ってる指の方を数えるんじゃないの？
What if you're supposed to read it differently? What if she counted the bent fingers?
そうなるとちえみとめいこ全く逆の結論になるな。
I'd mean it's Chiemi and Mako, the complete opposite. Oh shit. But we already know that that's not true because we confirmed Chikamochi as a wolf. But
メイクは狼ではありません。私も狼ではありません。
Mako is not a wolf, and neither am I.
織部義継様が人なのならば、残る芹沢様と鴨志田様が狼。
She's just anyone but me.
勘違いでしょう。
If Yoshisuke Uribe-sama is a human, then it must be Serizawa-sama and Kamoshida-sama. Uribe-sama's fingers must be some sort of mistake.
何言ってるの？私違うよ。
What are you saying? It's not me.
なんかしっくりこないからさ。
Yeah, doesn't really make sense.
ぶっちゃけハッサンが狼とか真面目に考えるべきだと思う。
Honestly, I think we should look into the possibility that Hassan's a wolf. They looked at me with suspicious eyes. Apparently, even almost dying from poison was enough to earn their unconditional trust.
収集がつかねえぞ。
Poisoned for what? We haven't settled it yet, Yasu.
迷うことはなく、 狼は植松里香子と鴨志田近持です。
I have no doubts that the wolves are Rikako Uematsu and Chikamochi Kamoshida.
メッセージの信憑性を補強する何かがあるのかね。
Do you have anything to support the trustworthiness of the message?
言いたくはなかったけどさ。
I didn't want to say it.
鳥兜が使われた段階でお前のことがよぎったよ。
But when the poisoner used aconite, I thought of you.
ああ、なるほど。
Oh, I see.
のさとか
Because he's an Asato.
確かに我々は毒草の扱いも家で手ほどきを受けるがね。
Well, it is true that we learn how to handle poisonous plants.
春明さん、覚えてたらでいいんですが、毒を盛られた時、葉っぱみたいなものは食べましたか？
Haruaki-san, do you remember if you ate something leaf-like when you were poisoned? I'd been on guard, so of course I remembered.
大きめに刻んだネギと白菜は入ってたと思うけど、変なものは見えなかった。
There were some largish onion and cabbage pieces, but I didn't see anything strange.
そうでしょう。一応あの後みんなで残ってたお椀を見ましたが、鳥兜がそのまま入ってたってことはなかった。
Exactly. We all checked your bowl afterwards, and it didn't look like there was any aconite inside.
だから鳥兜の汁とか毒を抽出したものとか、そういうのが使われたはずなんですよ。
That must mean the poison was in fluid form, extracted from the plant itself.
そういう発想ができるのは野里清之助さんか野里家の元跡取りで薬草や毒草に詳しい彼しかいないと思うんです。
The only ones here capable of doing that are Kiyonosuke Nosato-san and him, the ex-heir apparent to the family, who knows a lot about herbs, poisonous or otherwise. That reminded me that last time, Kari-san put just the cut leaves and Kiyonosuke-san instantly noticed.
そっかな。みんな渦の見分け方くらいわかるでしょ。汁を絞って使うくらい思いつくんじゃない？
Really? Don't we all know what aconite looks like? Anyone could think of extracting the poison, right?
どうして言ってくれないんだよ。僕じゃないってさ。
Why aren't you just saying that it's not you?
いや、僕じゃないって。見てよこの細腕。これで死体を切り刻むなんてとても。
But it isn't. I mean, look at my arms. There's no way I can cut up a corpse.
どうして母さんが切り刻まれたって知ってるんだ？
How did you know that mom's body was cut up? Chikamochi's like, my mouth said too much. I've said too much. Everything seemed to grind to a halt. The face of the guilty. Yasunaga Oribe glared at his ex-friend with both anger and a bit of grief. Chikamochi Kamoshida looked back at him with a poker face.
じゃあやはり香織さんのメッセージは正しい。
So, Kaori-san's message is true.
ええ。
Yes. Now, the best way to handle this, right? We vote Chikamochi, since there has to be one more wolf hanging around. And, let's say, Rikako Uematsu is dead set on her not being a wolf. Then we just take this night to research her. Oh, see, but I can see what's going to happen. I could see if we take the night to research her and the spider's definitely not alive, the person with the spider will, like, let's say, old man, then she knows that she would have to take me out because she definitely knows that I'm the snake and I don't have any protection. She'd take me out because she know I'd probably be researching her. But if I told her, like, hey, if you're so dead set on saying you're not a wolf, I'll research you and then I'll come back the next day and say you're a human. But I mean, she's just like, well, he's gonna find out if, let's say, she is the wolf. I don't know. But if she's not the wolf, then she has. Then if she's not the wolf and I research her and she's not the wolf, then we have what, like, 2 candidates? Is it 2? It would be Chiemi or Nosato? Or what? No, we already confirmed. We already searched him. Yeah, we already did that whole thing. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm thinking too far ahead. Let's see how Mochi gets himself out of this predicament.
鴨志田様、嘘でしょ？
Kamoshida-sama, that cannot be true.
はい、ストップ。
Stop. Stop. Alright, hold it. I got some looks that could kill. But I had to do it. Everything depended on it.
安永君の道筋は大体正しいと思うし、香織さんの功績というのは確かに果てしないと思う。
I believe Yasunaga-kun is on the right path and that Kaori-san's work is invaluable for us.
けど、ちょっと読み解いておくべきことが足りてないように思う。
However, I believe there are some things you fail to consider.
何でしょうか？遠慮なく言ってもらっていいですよ。
What is it? I'm all ears. Ignoring his somewhat antagonistic tone,
香織さんの遺体について、さっき話に出たように、顔と手以外の全身に切り傷がつけられているような状態です。
you mentioned Kaori-san's body. All of it was covered in cuts except for the face and hands.
ここでまず一つ。なぜ顔と手は残された？はるちゃんの時は顔は残されたけど、手は完全にやられていた。
First of all, why did they ignore those places? Consider Haru-chan. Her face was intact, but her hands certainly weren't. I felt bad about making them remember things they didn't want to, but I had no choice.
顔はまあわかる気はするんですよ。こんな殺し方だと顔が残った方がかえって残酷だ。でも手はどうかな？
I think I can understand leaving the face. Considering how brutal the murder is, the face being untouched just makes it more cruel. But what about the hands?
指なんて一番切り刻みやすい部位だ。どうしてこれが残された？
Fingers are easier to cut than any part of the body. Why do they leave them?
まるでわざとダイイングメッセージを残そうとしたみたいに見えませんか？
Wouldn't you say it seems artificial? Like whoever did it wanted to leave a dying message?
わざと？
Artificial?
うん。先に結論を言うと、このメッセージは狼の捏造です。
Yes. To cut to the chase, the wolves left them like that to trick us.
待てやおら！あれ間違いなくお袋の字だったっつーな！
Hold the fuck on! The paper had mom's writing!
うん。それは間違いないと思うよ。香織さんは確かに安永くんが言った計画であれを飲み込んだんだろう。
Oh, and it must be. I don't doubt that. Kaori-san likely swallowed it for the plan you mentioned.
それを万一の時に取り出すよう吉嗣くんにことづけたんだよね。
And Yoshisuke-kun was told to take it out in case something happened, right?
ああ、そうだ。
Yeah, I was.
ここにも穴があって内緒話は必ず漏れると僕は思ってるんですが、確率の話をしても仕方ないからやめて。
I think that's flawed, since all secrets are likely to be leaked out into the open, but I'm not going to talk about the possibilities.
問題は今回の殺し方ではメッセージは残せないってところにあるんですよ。
The problem is that the way she was killed didn't let her leave this message.
どういうことだ？抵抗できないってのは指一本動かせなかったはずってことか？
You think she couldn't have resisted because she couldn't move a finger?
それはわかりません。そうかもしれないし違うかもしれない。だからそれもやめて、ここで話を聞きたいのは野里さんです。
I'm not sure about that. Maybe yes, maybe no. Instead of speculating, I will just ask Nasato-san.
私かね？
Me?
はい。腕の内側を深く切り刻まれた状態で手を握り込むことはできますか？
Yes. Can you clench your hand with deep cuts all over your arm?
それは不可能だな。指の第一関節と第二関節を曲げる筋肉は手のひらがなく腕につながっている。
That is impossible. The muscles that move the joints in the fingers are connected to the arm, not the palm. What?
香織さんがもし指の形をああした後で切られたのだとすれば、筋が立たれて手は開いたはずだ。
If she put her fingers into those positions before she was cut, her hand should have opened when the muscle was damaged.
逆に切られた後で指をああしようと思っても、指をもう握り込むことはできない。
On the other hand, if she wanted to do it after the cuts, she couldn't grasp her fingers anymore. But that...
そうか。 だから腕の傷が下向きになっていたんだ。
I see. So that's why the wounds are facing down.
そうだったのか。
They were?
下向きに。
Oh, they were?
ええ。腕だけこう傷口を伏せたように下向きになってたんです。
Yes. The wounds on the arms alone were facing the floor instead of up.
つまり母さんは指が握り込めないから腕をなんとか動かして床で挟み込んで無理やりあの形に指を。
She couldn't clench her fingers, so she moved her arms against the floor to force the fingers into the position and...
無理があると思わないか。あそこまで腕をぐちゃぐちゃにされて腕を動かせたと考える方が。
Do you really think she could? Her arms are destroyed so badly. I highly doubt she can move them.
それは
I...
まあこれも確率論。いいでしょう。五分五分ってことにしておきましょう。
Though, this is a matter of likelihood too, so let's assume there was a 50% chance she could do it.
今のところは不自然なだけな点が指が無傷なこと、指が握られていたこと、密談が漏れなかったこと、この3点。
So far, the only natural thing is that the fingers were unharmed, grasped, and that the secret talk didn't leak.
加えて明らかに奇妙な点が一つ。
There's also another strange thing about it.
遺体の首にも傷はあった。もちろん深いものだけど骨までは見えていなかった。
She was injured in her neck too. It was a deep wound, but it didn't seem to reach the bone.
断面には大きな管が一つだけ見えた。野里さん、喉の部分を切って一番最初に見える大きな管は何ですか？
There was one large tube in the cut. Masato-san, what's the first tube you come across when cutting the throat?
気管
The trachea.
吉次君は気管から包みを取り出したことになるんです。呼吸する時の息が通る道ですよ。気管って。
That means Yoshitsugu-kun took the paper out of the trachea, the tube that passes air when breathing.
そんなところに物が詰まればすぐに窒息していたでしょう。そんなことができたはずがない。
With something stuck in a place like that, you'd quickly suffocate. There's no way she could have gotten it in there.
それはそうだ。赤反射というものもある。物を飲み込むなら物は普通は気管の奥の食道を通って胃に落ち着くはず。
That is true. We have the cough reflex. If you swallow something, it's bound to pass the esophagus instead of the trachea and end up in the stomach.
ちなみに彼女はハルちゃんの時と同じく大量に血を吐いています。
Also, just like Haru-chan, she vomited out a lot of blood.
おそらく殺害の時、吐血とともに手紙は出てきてしまった。それを狼は見たんでしょうね。
The letter must have left her body when she was being murdered, and the wolves must have noticed it.
手紙は本物だが、後から喉に仕込まれたんですよ。解剖学的な知識のない狼の手によってね。
The letter is real, but it was stuffed into her throat afterwards by wolves who don't know anatomy.
それじゃあ
Then,
そう。手が無傷だったのは、狼が誤ったメッセージを伝えるためにわざと残したんだ。
yes, the hands are unharmed because they wanted to pass on a false message.
腕の傷が逆だったのは、逆にして床と挟み込まないと指の数が固定できなかったから。もうなくなってたわけだからね。
The wounds on the arms were reversed because the number of fingers up wouldn't stay that way unless they used the floor to do so.
ちなみに、狼は彼女が手紙を飲み込むって密談を事前に聞いていて、注意深く探した可能性はあります。
Also, it's likely that the wolves heard her talk about swallowing the letter and went out of their way to search for it.
この狼は遺体の損壊にかなり執心していますね。
These wolves are really fixated on destroying the remains.
全身くまなく破壊することで死者のメッセージが万一にも残らないようにという意図もあるように僕は思います。
By being thorough about that, they prevent any chance of the humans leaving such messages. At least, that's what I think.
恐ろしく抜け目がなく狡猾な狼だと僕は思いますね。
They're really meticulous, astute, and cunning. A bit tired of talking, I fell silent for a moment, and no one spoke up in my place. They were all at a loss for words.
だから結局香織さんの指のサインは誤情報。これで狼を断罪するわけにはいかない。
That's why Kaori-san's fingers are a red herring. We can't base our accusations on that.
牧島勘三さん、
Kanto Makishima-san.
かつての宴で死者がメッセージを残すことはありませんでしたか？
Have the dead left any messages in previous feasts?
年寄りはみんな口を揃えておった。
The elders all used to say,
死人の口が言うのは、よもつ狼が言わせた嘘じゃと。
the dead only tell the Yomatsu Okami's lies. There you had it. I like those words. They were on theme with the story too.
ダイイングメッセージは当てにはならない。このことを証明してくれただけで、香織さんの功績は計り知れない。
You can't trust dying messages by merely proving that Kaori-san contributed to us immensely.
わかりました。納得しました。僕の知らない知識をもってすれば、確かにおかしい点はあったのでしょう。
I understand and agree. With all this new knowledge I didn't have, it does seem very suspicious.
じゃあ、狼は誰なんですか？さっきモッチーが口を滑らせたのは一体何だったんですか？
Then who are the wolves? What does Mochi slip of the tongue mean?
正解はすでに出ている。
We already have the answer.
リカコさん、さっき何て言いました？
Rikako-san, what did you say before we talked about this?
織部義継様が人なのであれば、私とメイコは人ですから。
If Yoshisugu Uribe-sama is a human, then I and Meiko are human as well.
残る鴨志田親持様と芹沢千恵美様が。
That leaves just Chikamochi Kamoshida-sama and Chieme Sarasawa-sama. Her words were slow, and so was everyone else's reaction. Slowly, they turned to Chiemi, who had almost never faced suspicion this whole feast.
嘘だよね。
No way.
だって、それは私だって信じたくないけど、リカコさんだって確定じゃないから可能性あるよね。
I mean, what? Well, I don't want to believe that too, but there's nothing that says it isn't Rikako-san, right? Oh no, the game is making me and the protag choose between the two women fawning over me. Oh no. Then I would let her do the talking.
リカコさん、あなたは本当は雲の加護を受けてませんね。
Rikako-san, you aren't the spider, are you?
はい。
Correct. I knew it. Naturally, the impact of the revelation was great. You could tell by just looking at everyone's shocked faces.
本物の雲は誰ですか？
Who is the real spider?
メイコです。
Meiko.
お姉ちゃん、いいの？
Are you sure, Oni-chan?
ええ。私は春明様を信じます。
Yes. I trust Haruaki-sama.
私、雲。お腹になんか、お姉ちゃんのこれ、書いてあったよ。
So then why was the fucking old man who cries wolf doing his thing? Yeah, I'm the spider. I had Oni-chan's thing on my tummy. She pointed at Rikako-san's brooch.
なんでそんな。もしかして加護の印を見たんですか？
Huh? What? Why? Did you see her guardian mark?
とんでもない。それは汚れを受けるに値する重い禁忌です。しかし
Of course not. That is a taboo act that would render me deserving of the corruption. However,
藤吉の暗がりを見張るネヤのはしためとしてこの時期に万一霧が立ってこの子が巻き込まれるならば
as a bedroom woman servant, it is my role to watch over the darkness in Fujiyoshi. So, in the case that the mist came and this girl became involved,
まだ字も読めないこの子が失敗せぬよう私が力を貸せるように言い聞かせておいたのです。
I taught her a few things, since she could not read yet, and so I could help her.
印、覚えたよ。
I remember the symbols.
さっきから何を書いてるんだい？
What are you drawing?
こっちがね、お守り。
Those are guardians.
お守り？
Guardians.
それでね、クモさんだったら足痛くなるの。
She said if I'm the spider, my leg starts to hurt.
お姉ちゃん、お布団で転んだ。足ぶつけて痛い。
Oh, Nei-chan, I rolled in my futon and hit my leg. It hurts.
後でおまじないをしてあげる。
A bit later, I will make it better with some magic words.
ヘビさんだったら
And if you were the snake,
目が痛くなる。
my eyes would hurt.
カラスさんだったら
And the crow,
お腹痛くなる。
my tummy would hurt.
オオカミさんだったら
And a wolf,
頭痛くなる。
my head would hurt. Meiko was talking way more than usual. She probably wanted to talk a lot during the feast, but we never gave her a chance to.
サルさんだったら
And the monkey?
ね、その時は言わなくていい。
Then I don't have to say it.
猿の時は私が身代わりに名乗り出ることはできませんから。
That is because I cannot claim to be her when she's the monkey.
なるほど。しかしメイコは雲として守る相手を決めるときに紙に字は書けたのかい？
I see. But how did Meiko write down the names of the people she protects as a spider?
それは私が書いて持たせました。
I wrote them down myself.
死ぬ時に忍ばせて。
I wrote them down myself, then gave it to her when changing her clothes.
過去の指定は直筆じゃなくてもいいのか？
It doesn't have to be the one with the guardian themselves who writes it?
わからなかったので真似をして書かせました。
I was not sure, so I had her copy my writing.
ひらがないっぱい覚えた。
I learned lots of hiragana.
この辺りこそが読み意味の宴の掟の穴かもしれません。
This might be an actual loophole in the feast's rules.
昼の間の密談はバレる。隠したつもりの情報は必ず露見する。しかしその情報自体を事前に暗号化していれば。
Secret talks during the day are never actually secret, but if you somehow encrypt the information ahead of time,
狼の手に渡っても解読できない。そもそも情報かどうかも理解されない。
then the wolves who got it couldn't decipher it. They probably wouldn't even recognize it as info.
さらに言えば、こんな幼い子が掟に挑んでいるとは誰も思わない。
And no one would think that such a little girl was bending the rules. When you looked at it as a game, it was clearly unfair. However, when our lives were on the line, we couldn't really care about that.
とにかくリカ子さんは確かに雲ではなかったが、雲の代言者として実際に肝臓さんを一度守ったんです。
Anyway, though Rikako-san wasn't the spider, she was like her representative, and used this position to protect Kanzo-san once.
あの時は牧島勘蔵様が最も重要に見えましたので。でも牧島春様は予想できませんで。
You seemed the most important one of us back then, but I could not predict that they would attack Haru Makishima-sama next.
仕方ねえ。雲は一回でも守れりゃ上等だ。
It's fine. Spider that protects one is a good spider.
おかしいと思ったん
Good
だ。
spider.
雲の加護者は基本的に名乗り出るメリットはない。候補が2人出てくるのは異常だった。
I thought it was weird. Spider normally has no reason to out themselves. It was strange that we had two. That was true, but with the old wolf guy being the other candidate, I really couldn't understand why it had happened. Still, there's no point in thinking about that in this loop.
僕は彼女の意図を初日の投票の時、メイコではなく自分に投票しろという彼女の言動から推測しました。
I suspected this on the first day when she insisted I voted for her instead of Meiko. So I can only assume it's one of two things with the old man. One, less likely I would say, is that he's just truly senile and just had a moment of like a spurt of energy as an old frail body, and he's just like, oh, I want to play Spider. Or 2, I'm going to say more likely, because it was a subject that was touched upon, and I was talking about it a little earlier, that there is a badger. Was it badger? Is badger the other animal? I keep thinking badger role. A role that you are not a wolf, but you want the wolves to succeed for whatever reason. And so the best way of doing that when you're a badger with no real power as a wolf is you just sow confusion in any way possible. Just take your moment, take your chance, sow confusion, claim a role when someone else does. Just fucking do whatever. That's the only other thing I can think of. But maybe there's more to it. I suspected this on the first day when she insisted I voted for her instead of Mako.
おそらく彼女はメイコの盾となっていざとなったら名乗り出て加護者を生かすつもりなのだと。
She was probably thinking of becoming Mako's shield, coming out as a fake spider and letting the real one live on.
そしてメイコが狼だった時の不調まで聞いていたということは。
Also, since you told Mako to tell you if she was a wolf.
はい。彼女を殺して私は汚れを受ける所存でした。
Yes, I intended to kill her and suffer the corruption.
それを知ってたので僕の中では昨日の段階で容疑者は3人に絞り込めてました。
And since I knew the truth, I was able to reduce the suspects to just 3.
あとはこの中で人を確定させられれば残り2人の狼が確定する。
All that was left was to confirm which one of them was human. That would mean that the other 2 were wolves.
消去法かね。狼を1人確定させても最後の1人が決まらんわけだ。
The process of elimination. Oh, that was another visual. That was the visual novel I read before this, right? Well, I guess technically I read Zato, right? ZATO. But before that, the end of last year, I read Process of Elimination. If you want to go watch that, he's plugging it for me. You can go watch my playthrough of Process of Elimination. I thought it was fine. The process of elimination. If you picked a wolf, you still wouldn't know the last one.
そうか。じゃあ、夫妻子さんは一番怪しくなさそうなものとして義継を加護の対象にしたんですね。
I see. So you picked the least suspicious one of the 3, Yoshitsugu.
まあね。
More or less.
俺を疑ってたんじゃなかったのか。
Oh, so you didn't suspect me.
さて、ここまで聞いてこれがよくできた作り話だと思いますか？
Now, after hearing all that, can you still say that this is just a well-crafted fabrication?
そして消去法の上残った2人は
And you, the 2 we have left thanks to the process of elimination.
自分が狼でないということのこれに勝る弁明ができますか？
Do you have any excuses that would work to prove you aren't the wolves?
もしそうならどうして僕は香織ママの嘘情報でも狼ってことにされてたのさ。
If I am, why was I a wolf in Mommy Kaori's false info?
そうだ。そこがわからん。どうして狼は近持ちが狼だと本当の情報を混ぜる必要があった？
Yes, it makes no sense. Why do the wolves have to mix true information with the false?
彼がおとりだからですよ。
Because he's the decoy.
皆さん、彼はどうやって僕に毒を持ったと思います？
How do you believe I was poisoned?
そうだ。それは結局不明のままだ。だから織部夫人が疑われたのだ。
Yes, it still isn't clear. That's why Lady Oribe was suspected.
彼女しか君を狙える者がいなかった。待てよ。
She was the only one who could target you. Wait.
そうなんですよ。彼女以外にありえないんです。僕を狙ったものなら。
Yes, she's the only possible option. If you're aiming specifically for me, anyway.
そうか。そういうことか。
I see. So that's how it is.
誰でもよかったのか。
It didn't matter who died.
正解。あれは僕を狙ったんじゃなくて、死ぬのは誰でもよかったんですよ。
Exactly. I wasn't a target at all. I didn't care about who died.
待て待て、どういうことだ？ お前がヘビだから狙われたんだろ。
Whoa, hold on. What do you mean? They targeted you because you're the snake, right?
それが考え違いの元なんですよ。たまたま毒の塗られた器が僕に回っただけです。
That's the very source of the misunderstanding. It just so happened that the poison bowl went to me.
おそらく彼は昨日のいつかのタイミングで食器に毒を塗った。
He probably found a chance to get poison in a bowl and took it.
一番上のやつに一滴垂らしたとかだけかもしれません。その程度ならばチャンスはいくらでもあったでしょう。
Maybe it was just a drop in the top bowl. He had more than enough opportunities to do something that simple.
そして食事となった時、狼はなんとなく雑談でもしながら料理には手をつけず様子を見る。
And when it was time to eat, the wolves just avoided their bowls and chatted while watching if something was happening to the others.
自分たち以外の誰かが毒を食らえば、そのタイミングで口をつけるかつけてたことにする。
They'd only eat after they saw who got the poison.
多分あの時は場が混乱してたから、全員が確実に料理に口をつけてたかはもう証明できないでしょう。
After the chaos that followed, it was impossible to tell if someone was avoiding the food.
もし誰も毒を食らわなければ、自分たちの皿に毒が回ってきているから気分が悪いとか理由をつけて食べなきゃいいわけで。
If no one ended up getting poisoned, it would mean that one of their bowls had the poison, so they'd say they weren't feeling hungry and excuse themselves.
とにかくこうすることで人の陣営を一人減らせる。
Anyway, doing that would reduce the humans by one.
発言力の強い牧島さん、匠さん、安永くん、立場が微妙な野里さん、自称雲の理香子さん、蛇のカゴ者である僕。
Makishima-san, Takumi-san, and Yasunaga-kun have a lot of influence here. Masato-san's position here is complicated. Rikaku-san is a self-proclaimed spider, while I'm the snake.
人の多くが狼にとって殺す価値のある人材であると言えます。
You can say that most of the humans are worth killing for them.
そしていざ毒殺されれば、それは調理した本人であり、唯一個人を狙える立場にあった香織さんが疑われる。
And if the poison killed someone, the only suspect would be the cook and the only one who could target someone. Kaori-san.
自称カラスである香織さんがね。
The self-proclaimed crow.
じゃあお前が死にかけたのは。
Then, you almost died.
完全なる偶然でしょうね。しかしちょうど僕がヘビだと明かした直後で効果はてきめんでしたね。
Because of a simple coincidence. But since I just revealed that I was a snake, it was extremely effective.
あれでもし僕が死んでいたら、きっと狼は香織さんを夜殺さず、今日この場でくくっていたでしょう。
If I died because of this, the wolves wouldn't have killed Kaori-san, and she would have been hanged today. I took a few breaths. Everyone was silent, probably because they were reflecting on the way they'd suspected her yesterday.
しかし結果的に僕は死ななかった上に、植松さんのその不思議な力によって彼女の信頼度も高まってしまった。
But not only did I survive, Uematsu-san's strange power that saved me helped her gain some level of trust.
である以上、植松さんはきっと雲として僕を守るでしょうから、夜には殺せない。
That being the case, they assumed that she would use her spider powers to protect me, meaning they couldn't kill me that night either.
リカ子さんを殺すことも考えたでしょう。ただ、リカ子さんは常々証明されているように、藤吉での立場が極めて悪い。
They probably did consider killing her, but as she proves time and time again, her position here in Fujiyoshi is extremely poor.
ちえみちゃんとリカ子さんのどちらをくくるかって話になった時に、まずリカ子さんがくくられるってほどには。
It was enough for her to be hanged if measured against Chiemi-chan.
だから昼に殺せばいい。そうなるとカラスのカゴ者である香織さんの方を殺してしまおう。
They could kill her in the daytime, so they decided to kill Kaori-san instead.
この辺りの順位付けが妥当かどうかはともかくとして、この二人がこういう風に考えてもおかしくはないと思います。
Whether that was a good second option aside, I don't think it's unlikely for those two to think that way.
で、話がだいぶ離れたんですが、 1日2人以上の殺人は汚れの対象です。
Now, back to the matter at hand. Killing 2 people in one day makes you a target of the corruption.
つまり鴨志田近持は覚悟の上で毒を持った。
That means that Chikamochi Kamoshida poisoned the bull knowing what would happen.
というかおそらく毒を持ったのが野里家の敗着である自分だとバレることも織り込み済みでことに及んだ。
He probably did it even while knowing that he, as the disowned Nosato child, would be the prime suspect.
基本的に狼は全員生き残るなんてまずできないんですよ。能動的に過誤者を語ればいつかはくくられる。
Typically, it's hard for all the wolves to survive. If they actively faked having guardians, they would certainly end up hanged.
しかしなぜか彼らは固い結束の上中で犠牲者を決めて突撃させる。語りにあるいはルール破りにね。
However, thanks to some form of unity between them, they could choose scapegoats from among them to serve the role of the faker or the rule breaker.
鴨志田近持はそういう役回りです。だから今日香織さんの遺言に従ってくくられる覚悟はしていたでしょう。
That's Chikamochi Kamoshida's role. That's why he was probably ready to die because of Kaori-san's final message.
しかし今日リカ子さんをくくれれば今夜僕を殺して場をめちゃくちゃにして生き残れる可能性はあった。
However, if Rikako-san was hanged today, they could kill me today, make a mess of things, and maybe even survive.
そういう賭けだったんじゃないですかね。残念ながら負けですが。
That's what they were betting on, I assume. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work.
とね
He looks down with a half smile, gathering everyone's attention.
やっぱそれ一方的じゃないかな。ハッサンやりっちゃんが本物だってのも決まってないわけだしさ。
That seems really one-sided. I mean, we have no proof that Hassan and Richan are what they claim to be. He brought up something we'd been over already. And since that was all they had left...
それに香りママの指だってまだああやって読むのが正しいのかも。
And maybe you can actually read Mommy Kaori's fingers some other way.
もっち
Mochi,
もういいよ。
that's enough.
苦しいよさすが。
It's getting cringeworthy.
じゃあ
It's giving cringe. Chikamochi, fucking give it up. We fucking lost. Then,
うん。
yeah. Oh shit. Whoa!
としようよ。
Ah! Let's kill them all. This is a dope CG. This is what I want to see. Fucking Mochi with a shotgun. And also, fucking Chiemi looks fucking dope here. The hood up, Chiemi. Chiemi is, I gotta say, you know what? I don't say this lightly. I really like Chiemi's design as like a character. I think she's really cool. I love the jacket thing. I think she has a good color scheme as far as like clothing goes. And that's just a dope looking picture. Look at that. She's got a fucking like hand shotgun like in her. I don't know anything about guns, I gotta be honest, but I think it's just perspective wise. I think it's like shotgun, but it just looks because of perspective, it looks like it's like just short in one hand. But yeah, I think her hair's dope. Like even that braid, like the purpley black hair. She just has cool hair. She's got cool hair, cool jacket, hood up, maniacal look right now. Let her kill me. It's fine. All right. So So yes, masks off. They're basically like, all right, the jig is up. We're not winning this. Interesting though, because I mean, surely Chiemi wouldn't want this to be the outcome, right? And you could probably extrapolate this and be like, she probably felt really bad when she came to see me last night. The main character. I say me. The main character last night. And she was like, she saw like maybe the walls closing around her, and she was like, fuck. Shit. Oh, fuck. Should I end it here on the cliffhanger? I kept waiting for like an autosave to pop up but it's not happening, but I do need to kind of like go. And this will be fine, because then we can come back and the future me will say, all right, so let's recap. And then I'll see this picture and I'll be like, oh yeah, so we did a lot of logic and we basically were able to confirm seemingly that this is basically what's going on. Main protagonist was very correct in his thinking. He was very right, apparently, that Mako was the spider all along. Rikako was acting as the shield and helping Mako make her decisions. And was also apparently willing to break the rules. And if she found out that Mako was... Interestingly enough, if Mako revealed herself to be a wolf to Rikako, Rikako was like, I would just outright kill her, which is quite hardcore. And just break the rules and just go at it like that. But we don't know why old man who cries wolf claimed himself to be spider, but they kind of just pushed that aside even in the text. And it was like, we don't really need to necessarily worry about that. But my guess is that the badger type role thing is a real thing. We kind of touched upon it before. And yeah, we know the reporter was a wolf, died. And then these are our two wolves. We already knew Chikamochi was a wolf, technically, the reader, and to some extent, our main character, but who knows how that's handled. And now seemingly Chiemi, unless we advance the text like 2 sentences and maybe something interesting different will pop up, but it seems as if this is the case. But like I said, good picture here. I like the red all around. Yeah, we'll end here. Although it won't be super long, but this weekend I plan tomorrow, hopefully another day stream. That's generally how we've been handling Saturdays lately. Saturday mostly is going to be focused on probably start with jigsaw puzzle continuing and hopefully put a good amount of hours in that to actually do a large chunk and or finish. And then Yakuza 3 sub-story post game. If stream ends up going long tomorrow, I might do a third game and we'll just boot up Ender. I almost said Elder. Ender Lilies. And then that would mean Sunday, then I most likely will just be reading. Hopefully for several hours or so. I almost said The Wolf Among Us. It's just end of week and I'm, work and everything. Brain tired. Not The Wolf Among Us. But you can see why my brain thought The Wolf Among Us, right? There's wolves and Among Us. No, not The Wolf Among Us. Although I'm still waiting for that sequel. That sequel game allegedly still being worked on. Believe it when I see it. No. Raging Loop. We should just be reading Raging Loop, I think, on Sunday. Again, probably a day stream-wise, and hopefully we get several hours in. So we'll be able to get a good chunk, and we'll boot up, and we get to see this again. I don't want to advance too much past it, so... thanks for watching. Again, either archived on YouTube at youtube.com/thebubmanXIV. The THEBUBMANXIV. That's the YouTube URL. Or, especially if you're an archive watcher, VOD watcher on YouTube, and you ever want to watch the streams live, you can be a part of the live streams. Those happen on Twitch. I don't stream live on YouTube. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll dual stream. I don't know. I've thought about it. I could easily do it. I'm going to be honest. I could easily do it. I just don't for whatever reason. It's not a good excuse. But if you're a YouTube watcher and you want to watch live streams, you can have those happen at twitch.tv/bubman14. bubmanXIV. 14 Roman numerals. So bubmanXIV. You can watch us on Twitch. I stream lots of games. Almost, unless something happens, usually like 6 days a week. So you can watch me play many games on Twitch live. Be a part of the chat. Interact with me if you so care. If you so dare, I should say. Care or dare. Otherwise, those are as much plugs as I feel comfortable doing. And even that I don't feel comfortable at. Thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying me reading along here. We had a little bit of funniness at the start of the stream. At the start of Raging Loop. Those women just couldn't help themselves throwing themselves at me. But we got into the game, so it was all good. Have a nice night. Have a great Friday night, or whenever you're watching this. Whatever night it may be, or when you're watching. Or if you just woke up, have a nice day. Or whenever you're reading, watching, whatever the fuck. I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, Jigsaw, just a chill stream probably tomorrow. Jigsaw puzzle. It's chill. We listen to fog music. And then Yakuza post-game sub-stories. Because if I don't get to the Yakuza post-game and do the sub-stories, then they'll just be hanging around forever. I mean, we finished the game technically, saw the ending of the story, but I want to try to see how many sub-stories I can knock out or feel like doing so. That'll be tomorrow. Until then, bye.